Welcome to Hypercar Global, the channel where we take a look at electric vehicles, Tesla and of course Elon Musk. Today we take a look at the ongoing parallels between Apple and Tesla, how Tesla is avoiding the global chip shortage and Musk talking about a carbon tax. Without any hesitation, let's get into the video. The ongoing parallels between Tesla and Apple. Is Tesla the next Apple? Is Elon Musk the next Steve Jobs? Such comparisons are often amplified within investment communities. But are there really such striking parallels between these two Silicon Valley companies? Is Tesla, hovering around a $500 billion market valuation, on track to pull ever closer to Apple's astounding $2 trillion market cap? According to the Washington Post, from the time they hit the mass market nearly a decade ago, Tesla's vehicles have garnered reputations as iPhones on wheels, a revolutionary technological leap that did for cars what Apple's smartphone did for consumer tech. They offered large touch screens, a vast charging network and groundbreaking performance that delivered on the dream of electrification seemingly without compromise, where competing products failed to stitch all aspects of that formula into one. Furthermore, the company's shared vision includes an emphasis on some forms of proprietary technology. Tesla uses a unique charging connector, similar to Apple products with their Lightning connectors. It has built out what it says is the world's largest fast charging network, consisting of more than 25,000 superchargers. Like Apple, Tesla built its brand on exclusivity and aspirational products, prioritizing the experience of ownership as much as the utility of the device itself. And both companies have integrated software with hardware in a way that revolutionized their industries, making the transition to new technologies relatively intuitive for even the non-tech savvy user, reports Faiz Siddiqui. And it's not just the tech. There's cross-pollination between top talent at the two companies. A Silicon Valley recruiter told the Washington Post, "There is a strong Tesla to Apple pipeline that is well known within both companies." To that end, the person recently in charge of Tesla's vehicle and mobile user interface design, for example, was previously a senior art director at Apple, though he recently departed Tesla as well. Tesla also had hired Apple alumnus George Blankenship to lead its retail strategy a decade ago, putting sleek showrooms in malls and city centers, mimicking the experience-focused store model he had pioneered at Apple. Even though there's competition for employees, Elon Musk has been quick to publicly praise Apple and its workers. "It's a great company with a lot of talented people. I love their products," he wrote on Twitter in 2015. So are these two businesses really all that similar? Perhaps. The Washington Post spoke with a former employee of both companies who said, "Tesla is not an automotive company, it's a tech company that builds cars." How Tesla pivoted to avoid the global chip shortage that could last. Year's Tesla explained how it pivoted to avoid the global microchip shortage that Intel now says could last for several more years. The pandemic has resulted in an increase in demand for many electronics and computers that the supply chain couldn't handle, especially the semiconductor industry. This microchip shortage, in turn, affected the automotive industry, which has increasingly become a big consumer of microchips. We previously released a deep dive report on how it is affecting electric vehicle production as several automakers had to halt production until chip supply could catch up. Pat Gelsinger, CEO of Intel, one of the biggest semiconductor companies, recently said that it could take a couple of years for the industry to catch up to the surging demand. Tesla was also affected by the chip shortage. During Tesla's Q1 2021 earnings call last week, CEO Elon Musk said that Tesla had some very important supply chain issue, mentioning the chip shortage, and even compared Tesla's logistics difficulties to World War II logistics challenges. This quarter, and I think we'll continue to see that a little bit in Q2 and Q3, had some of the most difficult supply chain challenges that we've ever experienced in the life of Tesla, and same difficulties with supply chain, with parts, over the whole range of parts. Obviously, people have heard about the chip shortage. Tesla uses several chips inside its vehicles for different control systems and its infotainment system. Most famously, the automaker uses a chip that it designed itself for its self-driving software. That chip is produced by Samsung. Interestingly, Tesla disclosed that it managed to avoid being too affected by the chip shortage through pivoting to microcontrollers and developing new firmware to work with new chips from different suppliers. The company wrote in its shareholders' letter, "In Q1, we were able to navigate through global chip supply shortage issues in part by pivoting extremely quickly to new microcontrollers, while simultaneously developing firmware for new chips made by new suppliers." The automaker did note that the supply chain issues could still affect them through the next few quarters, but Tesla only had to close its Fremont factory for a few days last quarter, which is not as bad as the production halts that some other automakers are reporting. Tesla's Elon Musk talks about the need for a carbon tax. Elon Musk is working hard on a 360-degree clean energy strategy at Tesla. With solar, battery storage, and electric cars, Tesla is poised to reshape the global energy paradigm. However, Tesla's products can only go so far. According to Mike Brown at Inverse, there's something else, and it happens to be the one big thing Elon Musk says could tackle climate change. What is it? During Tesla's Q1 conference call, Musk offered his rationale and argument for a policy that would introduce taxes on energy sources that produce carbon. The right thing to do, I think, from an economic standpoint, and I think almost any economist would agree, is to have a carbon tax, Musk said. Just as we have a tax on cigarettes and alcohol, which we think are more likely to be bad than good, and we tend to tax fruits and vegetables less. The same should be true, we should tax energy that we think is probably bad, and support energy you think is probably good. Just like cigarettes and alcohol versus fruits and vegetables. It's just common sense. But on the plus side, I'm not suggesting anyone to be complacent, but sustainable energy, renewable energy will be solved. It is being solved. But it matters how fast we solve it. And if we solve it faster, that's better for the world, notes Musk. This wasn't the first time Musk voiced support for a carbon tax. In a 2016 documentary produced by National Geographic, Musk told Leonardo DiCaprio that if government sets the rules to favor sustainable energy, we can get there really quickly. On the positive side of things, this is already happening in some places around the globe. Brown reports that a carbon tax would mean that big polluters have financial incentives to reduce their emissions. The World Bank notes that the most common form is a tax on the carbon content of fossil fuels. At present, 25 countries have a carbon tax in place. Will it happen here in the US? Not yet. But John Kerry, the special presidential envoy for climate, suggested, last month, that President Biden could pivot towards a carbon tax sometime soon. Biden hasn't decided or made an announcement about it. But we all know that one of the most effective ways to reduce emissions is putting a price on carbon. Let me know if you think there should be a carbon tax in the comments. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like to help support the channel, and if you are new, why not subscribe? Turning on the notification bell will alert you when I upload, so you'll never miss any new news. Thanks again.